Hello, hello, hello. It's Wednesday. You know what that means? It's time for the Cash Game weekly episode on the Big D podcast. Before I bring in Charles, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page where you can see all the greatest Cash Game episodes and see all my latest and greatest content. You never know what to expect. There might be a 3K punt player who shines or a 9K stud who bombs. So please check it out. And also check out the Big D podcast on Spotify and Apple. So every week, my cash game guest, Sears and I have played a head-to-head. And guess what? For the first time this year, Charles beat me. So Charles, how does it feel to finally beat the Big D?
Uh, if I, it was a weird week. It feels good to get a win, but it was definitely a weird week. And of course, the first week I pay up for Lamar Jackson, I get punished, sort of punished by it. I mean, I still ended up cashing my cash lineup. But yeah, it feels good to finally get a win. What was that 2-1 now? Is that the score?
I think it's either 2-1 or 3-1. I'm not sure. I think it's
I'm not the first two times. Well, the first time we paid money. That I'm talking about the
I think,
free ones.
oh, I think it's either 1-1 or 2-1.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, it's nice to finally get a win. You got off of Jonathan Taylor. I got back on Jonathan Taylor. That was pretty much the big winner for me. And Cowboys D. Like I was not getting off Cowboys D in cash game. Like at 3,200 against New England. That defense has been looking really good. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was on Hunt at the first, and throughout my GPP lineups and stuff, I do have Hunt sprinkled around on a lot of my lineups. But I mean, I ended up getting off a Hunt on DK because just Jonathan Taylor, just a high, I don't know, a high favorite, home favorite. It's just like it just seemed to jam it, sort of like Henderson, even though Henderson wasn't home favorites. It seemed like Henderson was also a lock play for me because they're just massive favorites against teams that they're not going to be competitive at all, so they can just hand the ball off enough times, and it definitely paid off with Henderson getting what, 2 receptions, 78 yards, and a rushing touchdown. I'll definitely take that. That's for sure. I wish I would have got off of, like, to be fair, Rondale Moore was like my quote unquote punt play because I that was like the cheapest wide receiver that I liked that was punting with playing Tony. If Tony doesn't get hurt, this lineup could have got more points, but with paying up to Lamar Jackson and him throwing up a dud and still getting a solid 10 points above the cut line, I'll take that any day.
Yeah, that was looking back on, I'm like, why didn't I play Jonathan Taylor? I'm like, the Colts were a big favorite on the Texans. I'm like,
That was the very first thing that you said in the last podcast. You were on Jonathan Taylor, and it sort of convinced me because
I should have taken my own advice.
Yeah. I mean, the reason why I liked Henderson because they're a massive favorite in the matchup. So it's just like, well, why am I not playing Taylor as well then? So luckily that got me off a Hunt. There's a couple of things that I sort of overlooked, or I guess maybe both of us did. Adam Thielen at 5,800. Looking back at it, even though he got 32 points. So obviously we're looking back at it, but it's just like, man, that's probably the cheapest he's probably ever been in the history of, being fantasy like relevant. Wouldn't you say so?
I don't remember Adam Thielen being 5,800. There've been a couple weeks where we've seen like number one caliber receivers cheap. I remember a couple weeks ago when Antonio Brown was cheap and went off against Miami, and Adam Thielen did the same thing against Carolina.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, this was a weird week. I guess with Herbert being like a lock play And then Seal Jones sort of seemed like a good solid play as well. We got 5x return on him. So it definitely allowed us to, get Jonathan Taylor, Henderson, Lamar Jackson, and still have Devontae Adams money. But like if I would have paid 200 more for Tony, got off of Adams, paid down to Cooper Kupp, Rondell Moore could have been someone random at this point. And I probably would have got like what, probably almost 200 with that lineup. So, I mean, I'm glad I cashed. It was a weird weekend, that's for sure. Ugly games. Baltimore, Indianapolis, Green Bay didn't feel like it was a competitive game. Arizona didn't look like a competitive game. Rams didn't look like a competitive game. The only real games that looked good were KC when they were trailing to the Washington football team, and then Dallas, New England game. All the other games were just like meh this week.
Agree. I mean, the LA Baltimore game put me on tilt, seeing all the running backs get the touchdowns, and I'm like, oh, you kidding me?
I know all the old Latavius Murray, Le'Veon Bell, and who's the other one?
Devontae Freeman.
Devontae Freeman. Like all three of them score a touchdown this week, and they're all on the same team. And it's just like, what year is it?
1987.
Like, imagine if those three running backs were on the same team like 6 years ago. Like that would be the best football team right there. You have three running backs, you just rotate them in and out as many times as you want, and you're not disappointed at all. Yeah, so the average cut line this week was 133.85 across the board. Nothing really crazy. I guess the only crazy thing that to me was how low owned Herbert seemed, at least in the $5 massive double up. He was only 31%. Seals Jones was 39. Henderson was 41. Lamar was 27. Even though Lamar was a dud, I know it felt like a good play.
Yeah.
He's probably the highest paid or highest owned quarterback, realistically.
And probably realistically, the only one you even thought about using, maybe Dak, but like Lamar was 1A, 1B, and 1C to me.
Yeah, so looking at the quick numbers of the $25 massive double up, Kareem Hunt was 62%. Woo.
Oops.
That was a bad day.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson, Kareem Hunt lines went down the
Seals Jones was 56%. Dale Henderson was 47. Herbert was 45. Lamar Jackson was 40. And then $25 double up. So I mean, obviously, some T Higgins at 32%.
Oops.
Yeah, you sort of fell for that trap.
Oops. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like going forward, I think the only wide receiver I'm going to ever play is Jamar Chase on the Bengals. after last week, it doesn't matter. Like if one of the other ones do better, he's just getting the concentrating targets, air yards. He's just the number one guy there.
All right, so enough with last week, on to this week, and starting with the quarterbacks. Who you liking this week?
Let's take a look real quick. Okay, here we go. I got pulled up now. I sort of like Murray at the high price end of 8,500. Houston is super laid up. We could probably go into another portion of the game that I probably like a lot more in that game. Now thinking about it, I think I would rather have the other part than Murray. Mahomes against Tennessee, that could be a very good play. Tennessee, as we see, they allowed teams to get 31 points. Definitely something that could be relevant in the grand scheme of things. Let's see here. Sorry, my notes are all over the place. Let's see. Where's Aaron Rodgers? Oh, he's at the top where he should be.
Washington.
Yeah. Well, I was just looking where he was in the price range. Man, Matt Stafford against Detroit. That's.
Revenge game.
I mean, I honestly don't mind running it back with Lamar Jackson this week against Cincinnati.
I,
Cincinnati against big teams like doesn't seem like they have that good of a defense. He's technically, oh, I think he's the same price, but you
same
know,
price.
7,400 for Lamar Jackson. Like, yeah, he burned us last week, but he should shine again. At the mid tiers, like anyone under 7,000, like Jalen Hurts at 6,900 against Oakland, that could be a randomly good play. I mean, we can just run back against Casey's defense and just play the quarterback that plays against Casey's defense every week. Like Tannehill at 6,400, that seems kind of cheap for him. I'm looking at the cheap quarterbacks. No one really is like piquing my interest down here. I mean, maybe Justin Fields.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
I mean, he's playing against Tampa Bay.
Matt Nagy,
Like,
let Justin Fields throw the ball down the field. Don't let. I hate all this 3-yard dink and dunk.
yeah, he only got 174 yards last week. It's
Oh
just
gosh, the
one
Bears.
touchdown, one interception.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll go for fantasy or DFS.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm glad you mentioned Jalen Hurts, but because to me, I think Jalen Hurts is the cash play this week. Under $7,000, we know what he's capable of doing this week, and it's a pace-up game because the Raiders played at a faster pace last week without Gruden. The Eagles are playing at a very fast pace, and we know Jalen Hurts and the Eagles throw the ball, and with his dual threat ability, Jalen Hurts could be a potential monster this week.
oh no, definitely. Just we can look back at Lamar Jackson's game against that's not a good example. 19 for 30 for 235 yards, one touchdown, and 3 fumbles. 2 of them were lost. So I don't know if that's a good comparison. But I don't know. Maybe looking at Lamar Jackson's number, maybe I'm off of Jalen Hurts. Maybe I mean, honestly, like if Jalen's going to be the chalk, I honestly think Ryan Tannehill is probably going to be super chalky this week. Is that going to mean that you play him? Maybe. But at 6,400 playing against that defense, the Casey's defense, like they allow so many points. How many points did you get last week? Oh, 13. Jesus. Tannehill is just not that good though. I guess he's sort of priced up for the matchup against Casey where he could shine.
It's been Derrick Henry's show.
Yeah. Yeah, he's always around this 6,400 price point. Like 64 is the second highest price he's been, and then week 1 goes at 65. So yeah, maybe Tannehill's not really a good play.
How about Derek Hall, $6,000 in a pace of spot against a crappy Eagle defense?
I mean, yeah, against a questionable secondary, Derek Carr could definitely shine. He definitely has the targets to, like, if his second check down is not good, then he can just go to the third, or maybe even Josh Jacobs, or who's the other guy? Drake. Is Drake still running for him?
Yep.
Okay.
I think I remember Kenny Drake scoring a touchdown against your Broncos last week.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about that. that was a statement game, like, oh, we're still here. John Gruden didn't affect us. La-di-da-di-da. I mean, what about Mac Jones against the Jets at 5,300?
Not the Mac Jones against the Jet Portos.
So let's look at it this way. I'm glad Lamar Jackson, even though he scrubbed it up, and I played him, I usually pay down a quarterback in cash games. Like, he got us 13 points at 7,400. If I would have paid 5,200 last week, I would have got 16 points from Mac Jones. Okay, cool. You got your expected value. You 3x. Let's keep moving forward. So, like, even if Mac Jones in this spot got 13 points, like, you're not paying down a quarterback to get 20 plus points out of your quarterback. You're paying down a quarterback so you can have some savings and get like that 15-ish point, like, floor that they have pretty close to their ceiling too. Like looking at his numbers, like, his floor is 7 realistically, but his ceiling's 17. So you know what you're getting though. Like even if he gets you like 12, 13 points, like you're not happy about it, but you know what you're buying. Where Lamar Jackson, you paying up 7,400. Thank goodness I had Henderson and Jonathan Taylor and Herbert on my team with Cowboys defense and Seals Jones. Like if I didn't have those 5 players, Lamar Jackson could have easily bit me in the butt and because I had Devontae Adams, got 12 points, 9K for 12 points, 7,400 for 13 points. Like, my 2 of my pay up spots, I ended up, just getting way below their floor games. So that was a good example of, haha, I told you so. Let's start paying down for quarterbacks because they give me 13 points. All right, cool. That's what I was expecting with a 5,200 quarterback, 5,300 quarterback. I'm not playing Justin Fields, not Heineke against Green Bay, but Mac Jones against the Jets. That seems like a good spot, or maybe get some of the wide receivers out there. Yeah, I mean, is there anyone else at quarterback that you like?
I mean, maybe 2 if he's not traded, or Matt Ryan, but I think we've gone through most of the. I think we've gone through most of the catch game.
Yeah,
Probable
like
quarterback.
Matt Ryan looked like I did like stop at Matt Ryan when I was like going through the list. I was like, that could be something, but like again, I would rather just put Mac Jones in and get my 14, 15 points for $5,000 and just move on. All right, so at running back, who are you liking?
Well, you walked out last week for the LA Rams, and now he gets an even better matchup with the Rams, a bigger favorite at home against the crappy Detroit Lions. Dale Henderson at 6,600 still feels way too cheap to me.
Yeah, even though he's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th most expensive running back, we'll say 4th because Christian McCaffrey's up there. But at 6,600, I mean, that seems like a slam dunk, and they're 15-point favorites right now, open at 13.5. Yeah, that definitely seems like a slam dunk right there. Where let's just go on the logic that worked last week. Just play massive favorites, and they're at home now, so we've seen them just keep using Henderson and run the ball. So what's going to change there? Holy moly. What about the guy that you talked to me earlier? I just saw the spread of that game, and it's just like, ooh, it's like that could be interesting. You know what I'm talking about.
No, Chase Edmonds. I actually don't know what to say about Chase because the projections like Chase Edmonds this week, but yet James Conner's coming into the workload, and this kind of a game feels more like James Conner than Chase Edmonds.
That could be true. Seeing that Chase Edmonds had shoulder injuries, he was limited in practice today. That's something to definitely keep an eye on. Connor's at 5,600. He's healthy. What's Chase Edmonds' price at? I just had him.
Both 50.
Oh, both at 56. Okay. So that's something to keep an eye on. If Edmonds is not practicing towards the end of the week, I think you could probably play either one of them and be fine with it. Like they seem to be the same productivity. Edmonds is more throwing down back, but what about any Tampa Bay guys? Are you any interest in playing like Fournette
Yeah.
and being a 12.5-point favorite right now against Chicago?
I still think Leonard Fournette's a pretty viable play because 6,400 both as a running back and a receiver. And yes, he's not Alvin Kamara, he's not Christian McCaffrey, but Fournette's getting about 70, 80 yards on the ground. He's the goal line back for one of the best offenses in football, and it could give you a couple targets out of the backfield. I mean, the last game we got 81 rushing yards, 6 targets. I mean, if we got 6 targets out of Leonard Fournette every game, we'd be eating.
Oh yeah, we definitely would be.
I doubt he'll get 6 with the Bucks 12.5 point favorite, but
I mean, what was the spread against Miami? Was it still like 7? Same thing as Philly?
I think it was like 8 or 9.
I mean, he got 5 targets in that game. And he got 5 targets against New England. The Miami game is definitely the one game I would look at and compare that to, and just like, well, he got 5 targets, 15 yards on 4 catches, but he did rush for a touchdown. I don't know, like maybe, Bucks are up kind of early, and then Fournette just gets a lot of the garbage time carries and random, checkdowns because they don't need to force anything. They don't need to turn the ball over. So they're playing it safe.
How about Dale Williams? I
mean, I was looking at that against Tennessee. I would have to look at more Tennessee stats about how they are with the run. See if I feel comfortable or not with that one. I mean, he went off last week. He could easily be the guy again.
Highest over under. Or one of the highest over unders. Yeah, highest over under.
Yeah, I mean, that could definitely be a thing where he's involved in the passing game. What has he got? He got 4 targets last week, and he had 5 the week before. So, I mean, at 5,800, that's definitely a good check mark. That's for sure. What about Hubbard against the Giants?
I think Hubbard makes a lot of sense because he is the number 1 back. The Giants have struggled.
They're only 3-point favorites. What is this? Let me go lock in all my, Carolina -3 bets right now. Jesus. Let's not kid ourselves. Those wide receivers are trash. They're not playing like they should be. But
by the way, I think the Giants went outright on Sunday
against Carolina.
Yes.
What? Okay.
The Giants went outright.
That's interesting. Why is the line so close? I gotta look that up.
Have you seen Sam Darnold play the last 3 weeks?
No. Have you seen those? Have you seen those overrated wide receivers drop those balls? Like they're not even trying. It's terrible. Sam Darnold's actually playing well. It's just his wide receivers aren't doing what they should be doing.
As a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, trust me, we dropped a few passes in London.
Yeah. You guys have a bye this week, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Then I think we're in Seattle next week.
I mean, if there's a game that you guys can win, it might be that one.
Geno Smith.
What about Mike Davis? Where's he at?
Oh God.
Oh no, Cordell Patterson. Yeah, that's just no go. And I saw Cordell Patterson was like what, 6,300? I guess that's not a bad price for him. But I mean, like I would much rather play Joe Mixon against at 6,500 against Baltimore.
Or DeAndre Swift in a pass down role against the Rams.
Yeah, definitely. That's for sure.
How about
Whiteout.
Is this the Cooper Kupp show again?
I mean, I don't see why not. He's proven to be like the Devontae Adams of last year, the DeAndre Hopkins 2 years ago and 3 years ago. I think he probably owned both those years. Like he just produces. The off game that he had with Robert Woods, when Robert Woods went off, sort of scared everyone. Well, maybe it didn't scare everyone. It scared me to play him. But I think we just like this is just insane. Like 10 plus targets in all 6 games. Like 10, 11, 12, 13, 10, 12. Like even the good Robert Woods game, like he still got double-digit targets. So it's just like this guy should always be in your lineup. Like the old saying, always roster Kelsey if he's on the slate. I think Cooper Kupp's probably that guy now. Like he always gets targets. It's crazy. Like it doesn't matter what price Adams is, Tyreek Hill. Even if if Cooper Kupp was priced at like 9,000, I still think you got to play him there. Like he's the only guy. Let me see. I mean, he's got to be the only guy. Yeah, he's the only guy with double digit targets like every single week. It's just crazy.
I
I
mean,
mean, is there going to be a downturn at some point? Yeah, but I mean, like he's having Deontay Hopkins numbers from 2 years ago.
the projections 11% ownership seems fine. I like Cooper Cup this week as my number one receiver.
Yeah, I mean, he would have to like get injured for me to not ever line him up again.
I,
Like, I got scared when he didn't have that one good game and Robert Wood shine, but I also didn't see he also got 10 targets that game still. So,
oops.
who else am I liking here? I mean, Jamar Chase seems to be always in play against Baltimore. I'm not excited about that game, but could be a thing. I mean, I like Brandon Cooks, like 6,000 for being the only productive guy on that squad. And he's still getting, 3 out of 6 games. He's gotten double digit targets. The team is playing from behind. Last week he got 13 targets against Indianapolis. They still got him 17.9 points with no touchdowns and under 100 yards. So no bonus anywhere or touchdown.
Not
And
bad.
he's still got 17.9 points. I mean, they're going to throw. They're always behind. He's the only player on that team that I would even think about rostering, and he's showing it. Like, and at 6K, he definitely seems like he's fitting the bill. What about Mr. Waddle? How do you feel about Waddle against Atlanta?
Oh,
Like,
I
it
think
feels like,
I like Jalen Waddle more if he actually went deep once in a while.
yeah. His longest touchdown against Jacksonville was only 14 yards, or I'm sorry, his longest catch was only 14 yards. It's kind of crazy. Like, I played him. I think he was in my lineups a lot of these weeks, and it's just like, against Indy, he only had 6 points. Against Tampa Bay, he only got 5. Those are definitely letdown games. And then when he's not even on the main slate, he gets 29 points. Like, how crazy is that? That's just wild. But he was also under 5K, and now he's at 5,600 because of his one game.
Well,
I think that the price tag is going to get people off of him. But I mean, if Waddle's the guy, man, like 13 target, he's had 2 games with 13 targets now. So I mean, if he's becoming the guy, and if he can have one quarterback throughout the entire game, Waddle could be it. Because I can see like 2 of those games that he had under 13 targets. Tua was pulled out and Jacoby Brissett was playing. Who are you liking around like this low 5K range? Like Devontae Smith, Kirk, Corey Davis.
Sterling Shepard at 5,600 seems really interesting to me, especially with Kadarius Toney misses.
Yeah, that definitely seems like a good play. Against Carolina's got, a whatever offense. Like sometimes they're whatever defense. Sometimes they show up and blow teams out, and sometimes it's almost like a shootout. Like against Minnesota last week, like that. Okay, so I found the other game. I forgot about that game that happened, but that game was kind of interesting too last week. The Carolina Minnesota game. So I mean, Sterling Shepard could be the play. I mean, we saw Adam Thielen eat. So I mean, why can't Sterling Shepard play?
Shepard got 14 targets last week.
Yeah, and Tony got out. When did he leave the game? I didn't see that.
First quarter.
Was it? Okay. First quarter?
Yep.
What? He still had 6 targets? No, he only had 3. Okay. Where did I get 6 from? Okay. I could have sworn I saw 6 targets for him. I was just like, what? Maybe that was like his percentage or something like that. Okay. Nah, I mean, I like Sterling Shepard. He definitely checks the boxes off. Um, anyone else like under 5K that you're looking at playing? Like
A couple guys.
Tyler Boyd? Like,
I'm glad you mentioned Boyd. I mean, these Bengals receivers seem awfully cheap this week.
well, I mean, from the game that they had last week, like it's like waddle or bust. So I mean, like I literally said like 2 segments ago, or not even 2 segments ago, but it's just like, the only Bengals I want to roster besides Burrow, or not counting Burrow, is Mixon and not Waddle, but
Jamal Chase.
Chase. Yes, thank you. So it's just like, this cheap for Tyler Boyd, like for the skill, that could be something. So I don't know what that something is though. Is that only 5 points? Is that only for 3 targets? I mean, hopefully Baltimore does a good job at covering Jamar Chase where Tyler Boyd needs to shine and step up.
Hey
But I mean,
Humphrey.
then
Hey Humphrey. Get cover Jamal Chase 1-on-1, please.
he probably will be. I mean, you got T Higgins at 4,900 too. So I mean, as your punt play, I don't see those being too terrible, but that's kind of risking it for cash.
Hey, if we talk about one former Clemson Tiger receiver, how about Hunter Renfro, 4,800 against the Eagles?
Yeah, I'm not hating it. I mean, looking at a stat sheet, he seems solid. I mean, maybe Gruden is a reason why that like he only had 5 targets against Denver, but Denver's defense is kind of stout. Maybe not last week against them, but he only got 5 targets last week. So I don't know if that was like a Gruden thing where Gruden sort of had plays designed for Hunter to shine and be the number one option. So that's something that I don't know if I would roster Hunter Renfro, but I'm not against it because, like, looking at his numbers, I mean, he's got 18 fantasy points 1 week, 16 another week when he was like dirt cheap at 4K and 4,400. It's not a bad idea. I don't know. I think I would have to give it another week, which sucks because the week that he goes off is probably like the last week he goes off for like another 2 or 3 weeks. So then if I roster him again the following week, I get burnt.
And if you want an ultimate, and if you want a cheap wide receiver to play this weekend, Rashad Bateman, 3,400. He got 6 targets last week in his first NFL game, and I expect him to get a bigger snap share this weekend. Look out.
He's definitely someone that I'm going to be rostering in GPPs. Him and
I think I might even use Bateman in a catch game.
That's not bad. I saw like one of the top lineups in the $5 massive double up had Bateman in it, and I was just like, I don't know about that, but I mean, he is technically the second option in that team. So, well, I guess third. You got Hollywood that's deep, and then Andrews, and then him. What about this Chris Moore guy? He seems to be solid on Houston. I mean, he got 5 targets the last 2 weeks. He went off against New England.
They're going to be throwing. They're going to be throwing.
Yeah. I mean, they were throwing against Indianapolis, and he only got 5 targets for 5 points. So maybe that's not good. But at 3,600, if you just need the salary cap, it doesn't seem terrible of a play. All right. So let's go ahead and get out of the garbage of wide receivers out in this 3K range. Let's go to tight ends. Where is Seal Jones at? Seals Jones is 3,700. How do you feel about that?
Not quite as juicy compared to the last couple.
Oh, he missed practice though. That's not good.
Yeah, but a lot of guys miss Wednesday practice. But if Seals Jones is healthy, I don't like him quite as much this week, but I still think he's okay. To me, I really like Mike Gesicki this week.
Yeah, against Atlanta, that could be very a pretty good spot. Even if Tua doesn't play, he's shown to be a pretty decent target for either quarterback. So I do like that spot. Man, he didn't get a touchdown. Oh, he got 100 yards though. He got 22 points last week without a touchdown. Good for him on 8 catches. Um, I mean, I like Andrews. Even though Cincinnati, we don't know what's going to happen there. Go back to the well. I think I'm finally off paying up for Kelsey, but I'm looking at Hunter Henry, and he's kind of appealing at that price point of 4,100. I mean, he's gotten 13, 19, and 10.5 points the last 3 games. Like, he's finally showing up. I don't know if Mac Jones is just more comfortable in the pocket now, or they finally learn like how to scheme Hunter into the looks. Could be a mixture of both.
I mean,
Ooh. What about this random play? No, you can't play Zach Ertz.
I actually think you can. I think you can.
Man, that's at 3,900. That's kind of rough.
I don't think it's
3,900 against a 15-point favorite.
18.5 point favorite.
Oh, I'm sorry, 17.5. Jesus. There's 2 lines this week that are 15 and 17.5. What is going on?
And Tampa's 12.5, right?
Yeah. Jesus.
I can't even. Can you?
So here's a quick little game to go off track. Which one of those 3 teams is going to cover? Houston, Texans? It's got to be the Texans.
I think the Bears.
No, not against Tampa Bay.
I
Tampa Bay
think
just put up points.
The Bears can muck up a game.
So you think it's going to be like a New England Tampa Bay game, where it's just a dirty?
It could be 27-17.
It's definitely not the lines. We gotta just count those guys out.
I don't think Jared Goff's winning a revenge game against Sean McVay. Sorry.
That would be sweet. What not win, but to cover the points.
Backdoor touchdown.
I honestly think the Texans are probably the better team to.
No.
17.5 is a lot against a team that throws. I don't know. Like, Houston just put up 3 against Indy, so who knows?
I mean, Houston's lost his last 3 road games. I'm trying. I don't know the exact total. I think it's like 71-3 or 71-10.
Hold on, wasn't that bad, was it? They were. Yeah, they put up 21 against Cleveland.
No, well, you're thinking of the Buffalo game.
No. Yeah, their last 3 games was away games were Cleveland, Buffalo, and Indy.
Oh, wait a minute. Was Buffalo after Cleveland?
Yeah. Cleveland was week 2, Buffalo was week 4, Indy was week 6.
And Buffalo shut out the Texans?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's not really a surprise there.
Houston scored 3 points.
But
last 2
are the Cardinals' defense that good to keep points off the board? Because, like, I think in a nutshell, I would have said Cleveland had a better defense than the Colts, but Cleveland allowed 21 points and Indy only gave up 3. And I'm not even going to put Buffalo in that conversation. Like, they're just that was just ridiculous what they did. I almost called the cops on them. Yeah, man, I don't know. That's just ridiculous. 3 double-digit spreads, and 2 of them are ridiculous. 15 and 17.5. Like, I don't know how the Lions aren't 17.5 favorites or more. How the Texans more of an underdog.
Because Arizona hasn't lost. I don't know why. I mean, you've got 2 of them.
Yeah, but the Lions haven't won.
True.
Like, I mean, they've gotten some close games though, so I will give it to them. They've had some close games where Texans, like, they're not even like, they look close on the box score. Like, they lost to Cleveland by 10 points, but that game wasn't really that close.
Yeah.
Any other tight ends to get back on subject? Like, are we playing Gronk at all? We even
No,
considering him?
no, no.
Now we're just going to wait for him to bite us in the butt.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, he was unable to practice though. So, okay.
I'm not even sure Gronk plays.
Yeah, he didn't practice either. So, oh,
And now defense.
well,
Sorry, Houston. Sorry, Houston. Does that mean we're using Arizona against you this weekend?
yeah, 3,100, 100%. Like, how are you 7-point favorites and 17-point favorites, and you're what, the fifth cheapest? No, cheaper than that. You are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, seventh cheapest or seventh most expensive defense this week. Okay, sure. Like the Rams, okay. Rams at 5K. I would never pay that much for a defense. I'm sorry. Buccaneers against Chicago, sure. They're probably going to get a couple of interceptions. Panthers against Jets,
No.
3,500. Okay.
Maybe New England.
New England against Jets. Oh, I'm sorry. Carolina against the Giants.
No.
3,500. Maybe. New England against Jets, 3,400. Sure. Green Bay against Washington. Probably not. And then Miami against Atlanta.
Mm,
I mean, Miami did something with Buffalo. That's something. But I mean, like at 3,200, I'll just pay 100 less and get Cardinals defense and just, hope they do something. But I mean, like looking at their game logs against Cleveland, they got 12 points. Against your team, Jacksonville, they got 18. Against Tennessee, they got 16. That wasn't even a close game. Dang. Yeah, I think this is definitely a mispricing. Like Houston's not really a good team. I guess they don't really turn the ball over that much, do they? No, they probably do. They're 30th, yeah.
David
Yeah,
Mills. David Mills.
yeah. I'm just gonna put the Cardinals defense probably in every single lineup on DraftKings. It's just
I would say this: if you want to go a little cheaper, the Giants at 2,500 could be decent. Sam Darnold's been a turnover machine the last couple of weeks.
actually, well, that's because you think the Giants could win that game.
Oh, I know the Giants will win.
Oh, okay. What about the Jets
Oh,
against New England?
uh,
How saucy would that be? Like you pay down a defense, you get like 4 points because you get like a random bad interception or they get a fumble. Like that game could be close. What's the spread on that game?
what? Uh,
7?
uh,
Has New England even beaten anyone that's 7 by 7?
uh,
Oh, they already played the Jets. And it was 25-6. Man, they already got the run back game this early in the season.
Yep.
That's kind of crazy. Oh, Jesus. And they got 19 points on the Jets. No wonder the Patriots at 3,400. Maybe the Patriots are the play. It gets the Jets. I don't know. What do you think? You're not paying that much more than the Cardinals
Seven.
defense.
I don't think New England's the worst defense to use.
I mean, they got their season high against the Jets at 19. And that was that was their only good game too. So who knows? Maybe now after that beating, they sort of know like what not to do now. Maybe. I don't know. I do like the Cardinals at 3,100. That price is definitely really good. Jets defense. What do they score against the Jets defense? Oh, 3? Jesus. It's like probably the only defense that the Jets were probably the only defense to score only 3 points against the Patriots, where everyone else scores more. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't see anyone else that I really like. Go
Yeah.
the full gambit and just play the Texans, D.
Or the Lions, right?
I mean, the Lions, no, not against the Rams. It's hard to complete that sentence. Titans D against KC.
Mm,
Mm,
well, I
Yeah,
think
you're not happy about it.
Kansas City is a turnover machine this year.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either. Like, I mean, Mahomes is still Mahomes. Like, let's not kid ourselves. It's just maybe like Chewy Kill, excuse me, having some injuries. Uh, yeah, the more I look at the entire list, the more I'm liking the Cardinals at 3,100. That just seems too cheap for that good of a defense with that bad of a matchup. Or I'm sorry, that opponents are that bad. Like that just seems too cheap.
You're hoping for a few sacks, maybe an interception or two? Yeah, I'll take a JJ Watt sack strip.
Shoot, I'm hoping for a pick 6 or something. It's like, give me that money real quick.
Yeah, just give me the coin right off the bat, like last week. So thanks for hopping on, Charles, and we wish you all the best this week against me, and hopefully we bring home the bacon.
Yeah. Hopefully I can keep the win streak alive and bump it up to 2. And hopefully we both do well and we both cash and we both have a tight game like we did that one week
It'll
where
be
we
like,
both scored 200 points. That was
yeah,
crazy.
I'll take that. I'll take another 200 pointer this week.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. I appreciate you having me, man.
Thank you.